right, I am back. And time to see, are there actually records or not? Or is the API busted? Is this the right table? The right database? So streams and view all rows. Okay. Huh. That's kind of interesting, actually. So let's check something out. If I can make multiple records that have the same title, and then if I get 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and then I delete one, they have different IDs, right? So if I delete this one, what I'm concerned about is that my deletion might be deleting them all. It is. All right. Well, that's good to discover early on, isn't it? So okay, let's take a look here. Diesel delete users that filter ID equals 1. ID equals ID. I mean, that looks right. ID dot equals ID. So how do we manage to delete everything in the table if we're filtering by ID? It's kind of strange. Okay, we can look at the logs. Okay, here's our delete operation. Info request. So here's where we enter delete stream. Executing statement with parameters. Huh. Seven millisecond latency. All right, but why? Huh. Uh-oh. OBS disconnected. Did I lose internet again? Oh, that's not good. Well, we're still recording. Attempting to reconnect. Well. Do I have internet? I do have internet. Oh. All right. Well, at some point, for once, I don't think that was me. I think that might have been Twitch. Stream dropped momentarily, but looks like I'm back. Bitrate is good. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah, trying to figure out why we deleted everything in the table. Thoughts are that maybe... Yeah, I don't need that file anymore. Maybe the ID is an empty string or something? So delete handler, record streams ID. Also, while I'm here, video clips resource. Delete record streams ID. Could we... Yeah, do something like that. Could not compile. Didn't like something. Oh, right. Oh, hey. Oh. That may be a problem. So, what does ID represent? Which ID are we referring to? Does the name that we use to pass the path need to match the name from the route? I think what I might do is I'm going to change this, and I'm going to change the this here to be like record ID. There we go. And that's going to potentially break things, but at least that'll be a little less ambiguous. Aha. Aha. So, right, ID is a UUID, but record ID is a string. What if it's not a string? What if it's a UUID? Can we use that type? That does work. Okay, okay, I like it. Then I think we need to do the same thing and get one. And in update, not that we've implemented update yet, but you know, we'll get there. Whoops, missing a comma. Okie dokie, and then we need to import that. Yep, and then in get one, we need to also import that there. Yep, and then that ambiguity, I'm surprised this compiled. I would have preferred that it been like, hey, what do you mean by ID? What do you mean by ID equals ID? Actually, for that matter, I read that line like out loud several times. It didn't occur to me. Oh, whatever, anyway. Okay, and we got record ID updated here, and then an update. We're not doing anything yet. So now, maybe we even compile. Nope. Oh, we exited. Okay, run task, cargo watch. Terminate. Also, the build did succeed from back when we were doing that before. Anyway, run task, cargo watch, CRUD API. Unused import is not an error. There were errors though. The trait handler underscore 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 is not implemented. Okay. Oh right. So we didn't update, and this was red anyway. We what's the problem? Path UUID impl future. Okay, we may not know how to extract a UUID from the path. Now, one option would be to just take a string and then convert it into a UUID. What might be slicker is if we could somehow make that work. Path segments can also be deserialized into any type that implements SERDI deserialize. Okay, I mean, it shows. Huh. Maybe I need to do this sort of setup though. Okay, let's go into structs. We already have something called params that probably should be more specific. Should be like list params. I call this record params. We'll just call it ID. Bam. And then now we import this here. And then what's the problem? We don't have a, I mean, confused. The example we were just looking at literally showed for, path, an example where we had UUID. SERDI feature of the UUID create is enabled. Okay. So first of all, I think that's not strictly necessary. I will keep list params though, because I think that's a better name for the struct. And in our cargo file, there's a new version of Axum apparently. I'm not gonna upgrade right now. Maybe that can be a future thing. Is it a feature of SERDI or a feature of UUID? SERDI feature of the UUID crate. Okay. So hey, guess what we don't have? Features. Version. I can type. There we go. So this is again and again and again. This whole features thing for crates trips me up because you'll see something mentioned in the docs. Here's an example. But yeah, sometimes you just have to enable certain features. And I think it's really great, you know, this is something that you run into like in the Node ecosystem where like you end up with just a bunch of separate packages. I mean, you end up with a bunch of separate packages anyway, but you want to have like, oh, this capability, and then you optionally want to have these other features. Those just end up being separate like add-on packages. So having a feature flag thing on your crates seems kind of nice. Hopefully that makes our main RS happy. Seems like it. Okay, and we're building. Okay, so if we list all of the records, there aren't any. If we create some records, I'll grab one of the IDs, and then we list the records. There should be like 3, right? 1, 2, 3, and one of them is the thing we just created. Now, if we delete one record, 2 or 4 no content, and then if we get the list of content, now there's 2 records. Okay, we're not deleting everything anymore. That's great. And we've kind of tested the whole life cycle, right? So we created, we retrieved, we haven't updated yet, so we've not the whole thing, but nearly there. I'm gonna delete this extra debug trace. I don't really need that. Let's continue. There's one more thing we were working on before the break, which was getting rid of the unwraps. So do I still have my search? So we have a couple places where we're unwrapping here. What I might do is, well, I had one place. Didn't I have one place where I had already implemented handling getting the connection? Where was that? Was that in get one? No. Get list? No. Delete? No. It was in create. Okay. So I'm just gonna paste the same thing in every place. Now that's gonna do a couple of things for us. One thing it's going to do is it's going to ensure some consistency. Like the name connection will be the same everywhere. Also means I need to do an into response here to make that type work. And then in get one, we refer to connection here, but there was somewhere where we referred to con instead of connection. There it is. And then this is also into response. Just kind of forcing an alignment. Just trying to think. Whenever I'm copying and pasting code like this is telling me there's a feeling I get. Where, am I doing something wrong here? And I think the thing is with the error handling at this level, I'm not sure if there's much I could do that would be better than this, other than a thing that I don't know too much about in Rust, which is macros. Potentially we could have a macro that did some stuff that would like give us a connection or a return. Maybe that would be a thing. In fact, maybe there's some opportunity to have kind of like a some kind of API macroing stuff that we could do, right, to cut down on copying and pasting. But for now, I'm just going to roll with it. And again, we need to do a into response here so that the types match up where we're returning above in our error handling and where we're returning this value down here. So now, build successful. Right, so where else are we doing unwrap? We're doing an unwrap here. This should probably just be, well, just match on the value. And if it's an okay, well, we don't want to We want to evaluate that no content status code into a response. Otherwise, we want to do an internal server error. We don't need to do a return here because the this match is the last expression in our function. The value that this evaluates to, so that is this block in this OK. Why is this complaining? Oh yes, there needs to be a comma there. So this, if the delete goes OK, then the match will evaluate to this no content status code response. What is the problem here? Expected struct, found unit type. Oh, because there's a semicolon on the end. So if you have a semicolon, it's a, let's see. I don't know the actual like proper nomenclature, but my interpretation of this is that this is like a block of code, right? But if you don't have a semicolon, then it's an expression. And if you have an expression as the last thing in your function or in your match arm, then this arm, should there be an error, and we go into this arm, then this expression is the value that this turns into, and thus this whole match expression turns into, right? So the type of this expression will be this Axum response, and thus the type will work for the handler. All right, and so now we have a something where we won't panic. I feel like there's a maybe that I don't know, a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference in there somewhere. So now we have 5 more places where we're calling unwrap that we should not be calling unwrap. So let's attend to that. So one thing in get list I'm not really happy about, but I couldn't really figure out how to do better, is I would like to do this query where we're getting the results and we're getting the total number of rows in the table. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah. So currently we've not implemented any kind of filters for this stream get list endpoint. If we did, we would want to make sure that those filters happen here and here, so that the count we get is the total count of rows that match the filters, for pagination. Like you want to see how many results total there are, given the filters that are currently applied, is how that needs to work for React admin. But anyway, so let's change this. So we're gonna match on the awaited value, and then if it's okay, we get the total. And if there's an error, we want to return, probably a 500. Like this shouldn't fail unless there's something wrong with like network connectivity, or the database is down, or someone has done something to the database, and then we need a semicolon there. And then we already have an into response there, so that should be good. So we're just doing error handling essentially. And then here we're gonna do the same thing. Another thing we could do here, if we wanted to, is just like take this first part, this result, and put it, we could do something like this, where we say let results equals this thing. Now, I think it's gonna be unhappy with that. Probably what we need to do to make this work is actually then annotate, like manually annotate that this is a result of a vec of stream. And I don't want to bother doing that, but that is an option. And then, so then we want to get rid of the unwrap. We don't want to use unwrap. We want to instead do a match expression on this whole thing. So we're going to evaluate, so we're going to await the response await for a result containing either our results or an error. And again, a select query, we shouldn't get an error unless there's something wrong that's kind of server side. And then looking at this visually, like if you're not familiar with Rust, this looks pretty misleading, right? If you're not paying attention, you just see like, what's going on here? Are we like calling await with this or what's going on? But really what's happening is this whole thing is like one expression that's being used in this match, and then we're evaluating the different guards based on the value that we're getting for awaiting the result. And then we need a semicolon here because this is a statement is probably the word I wanted before when I said block. A statement and not an expression. And then we just repeat that 3 more times. Oh, did I not? Oh, right, this is in video clip. We've not gotten to video clip yet. Okay, well, let's eliminate all of these uses of unwrap. Some other stuff here is going to change too, but we'll just repeat the same process here of using match and doing that. And then we also need to do into response here. And we need a semicolon there. And then we need another match here. Get rid of the unwrap. And then okay, and that's all of the places that I was calling unwrap that weren't in kind of the top level application initialization stuff. So that should maybe be better. There might be, I don't know if there's a better way of doing this in Rust, but this seems to be good. All right, so that's a lot of changes actually that we've done so far. All right, so we have changes to how we're doing error handling, actually doing error handling, how we're preparing responses, and all of our different things. We implemented from stream for stream view. Oh, we didn't go back and update get list to actually take advantage of that, I think. So if we go back to here where we're doing this map, instead of constructing a stream view like this, I think what we can do is just like do stream view from record. Right. So this is a reference. Can we just deref it? No. Okay. So, right, stream view from needs the value, but record is a reference. So Copilot, why don't you try explaining that to me while I think about this for a little bit? Into iter instead of iter. Oh, okay. So what does into iter do? This creates a consuming iterator. That is one that moves each value out of the vector from start to end. The vector cannot be used after calling this. So you might have seen briefly where before I had iter, and then I tried to dereference record, there was an error about not being able to move it. Cannot move out of star record, which is behind a shared reference. Move occurs because star record has type stream, which does not implement the copy trait. So our stream struct doesn't derive from copy, doesn't have that trait. And that is kind of a way it could dereference that and get a record is to copy it. And the reason for that is, so we have results here. And if we are iterating over results, and then we're trying to take the reference, and then we're trying to grab the actual record outside of the vector, that could be problematic if we start trying to change things around in that when it's still inside of the vector. So it looks like into iter essentially consumes the iterator, making it improper to try to, it consumes the vector, making it improper to try to use results after this. Like if we do println, but we do results, do we even get an error? I think we get an error about that, because now we're trying to grab results, but we've given ownership of results via into iterator. And this is a way that the borrow checker is used, in my understanding of Rust anyway, is how the borrow checker is used to ensure that who owns things and kind of like controlling access to things that are potentially broken, or broken's not the right word, but are potentially invalid now because they've been munged in a different way, some other way, which into iter essentially takes everything out of the vector and ruins the vector, we'll say. I don't know how exactly that works, but you can imagine it like that. So anyway, this is my understanding from someone, again, who, I don't know, how many hours of experience in Rust do I have cumulatively? It's got to be probably less than 100 out of my 20 years of programming. But anyway, so the point being that, hey, now we can use our from method on the stream view to do this instead of re-implementing that code that was here before, which is great. Okay, so we could commit all of this. It gave up on trying to generate a commit message for all of these things. Let's take it piecemeal. Oh, I think. Oh, okay. Well, fix Docker file problem with top level cargo toml. And then we're gonna add. Oh, I think it might just be broken. Hold on. Copilot. Is there like a restart? Nope. Okay. Add Certi feature to UID. And then all right, so before I commit this, I think this next commit is going to be basically just all of the stream endpoint stuff. So let's implement update. We're pretty close, right? We have the connection. We just need to do this this update. Okay, so it looks like Copilot wants us to retrieve the stream record. That's interesting. I don't know that that's strictly a thing that we need to do. Oh, another thing we do need to do though is we need to get the body JSON. I don't know that we want to use create stream request though. Yeah, let's add those imports from Axum and let's see. we want to use create. I always say create instead of crate, but what is it? Structs? No. How do we refer to the structs module from the current file? I think we have an example of that in a couple of different places. So here we're doing create handler stream struct stream view. I think there was a different way I came across, and we might actually have it here. Super structs. There we go. But not stream view. And probably we don't want to use create stream request either. Let's think about that. We could probably get away with that. You know, potentially you may want to have different types, different representations of the of updating versus creating. Like you'll either have things that you can only set when the record is first created, or you may have things where you can't initially set the values, but then when you go back and update, you can update them. Like perhaps they are fields that are automatically pre-populated, generated, or are otherwise obtained after the record is created, and so they're not fields that are in the original creation payload. In this case, I'm just going to use the same struct. I keep on wanting to say enum. I don't know why my brain is stuck on enum, but regardless, so now we have the body. Let's see. Okay, here's a warning. And I remember seeing this warning, so I wanted to double check. Since parsing JSON requires consuming the request body, the JSON extractor must be last if there are multiple extractors in a handler. Okay, so the order of extractors for Axum is important. Okay. So the Copilot seems really invested in getting the existing record. I think Diesel update. So this is interesting. I don't think I want to do this either. Ideally, what I would want to do is I'd want to say if for the optional fields. Oh, here's a good point. Here is another reason you would want to have a different struct for creation versus updating. Potentially, you want every field in the update request to be optional, right? Because you could, for instance, require that you just send every field. None of them are optional, unless they were, they're things that are just generally optional. But what I would imagine would be convenient, and I think the way that it works is that the React admin front end is only going to send fields that have changed in the update. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's how it works. This is something that I should probably just check the docs on. So React admin data provider. Update a record based on a patch. So this tells me already that this works the way I just said, right? You can have custom methods with the data provider, and we can call into those. You can do all sorts of things, and I think we're going to see that as we eventually get past all this CRUD stuff. But let's kind of verify how update is supposed to work. Can we see that? Ooh, file uploads. Data fetching, querying the API, use update. Okay, I don't see anything better for supporting the way I think it works, other than this update a record based on a patch. So let's just assume that I'm right. And let's keep going. Okay, so how do we do an update? You know, in SQL, it's easy enough. I mean, we set the fields based on whether they're present or not, right? If they're present, we'll set them. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and do a update stream request struct that doesn't quite exist yet, but will. So we'll just copy and paste create stream request. And the idea here is that everything will be optional. And it should have its own name, update stream request. There we go. So we have a pub struct. That means that this is accessible from outside of the file. That's my understanding of it anyway. And then we need to do something. Now, what is the type here for set? Let's take a look at update here. So here's the docs on set. Creates an update statement. When past the table, when a table is passed to update, every row in the table will be updated. You can narrow the scope by calling filter on the table before passing it in. Let's get a little bit more room here, which will result in update your table set blah where args the filter. Passing a type which implements identifiable is the same as passing this. Example: set name equals thing. On the backends that support it, you can call get result instead of execute to have returning star automatically appended to the query. We probably want to do that actually, because we are going to want to return the updated record. Yeah, we're gonna get there. We do want to return the updated record at the end of the update. That is something I know the React admin needs. And then it notes to update multiple columns, give set a tuple argument. So here's an update based on users that filtered ID equals 1, and then you pass a tuple of things to set. Can we build a tuple? Fields to set. But fields to set equals can you map? So in TypeScript, this sort of thing, what I would do is I would like iterate over the fields in the body, and then I would look for ones that are present, that are defined, and then build this thing into whatever query builder. But what do I do here? As change set is not satisfied. Okay, so that's the type. The value of the associated types change set and target have to be specified. Types which can be passed to update.set. This trait can be derived. Interesting. Okay. Let's look at the diesel docs. Diesel Rust. I am concerned that this may be troublesome to do. Like every time, so my inclination is always this kind of dynamic, like, okay, I have a library to build a query. I have some data. Let's use data to build the query. And what I feel like is every time I take that approach, the diesel library is like, no, you should write code that just calls the individual things statically, which I get. I don't know. I mean, I feel that in TypeScript, which I've been using pretty much constantly for a number of years now, there's good support for having types on data that then drive how you use that data, and then type checks on how you pass data into functions that all work together to type check the whole system. Whereas, I don't know, the types in Rust are not feeling as dynamic, and that is probably a lot down to just me not knowing enough about Rust. But here I am. So, if I want to construct a query, with a variable set of things to set, let's see, diesel rust build set build update from optional fields. Well, there's a guide all about updates. Maybe I should read that. So here's a very simple update, right? We're gonna set draft to false for all posts. Here we filter. Okay. What if... Okay, you can do like an increment, like an in-place update of fields. Set title redacted, body to that. As change set. While it's nice to have the ability to update columns directly like this, it can quickly get cumbersome when dealing with forms that have more than a handful of fields. If we look at the signature of .set, you'll notice that the constraint is for a trait called as change set. This is another trait that Diesel can derive for us. We can add derive as change set to our post struct, which will let us pass a post reference to set. Okay. So changing the primary key of an existing row is almost never something that you would want to do. So as change set assumes that you want to ignore it. The only way to change the primary key is to do it explicitly. Okay. If the struct has any optional fields on it, those will also have special behavior. We'll assume that none means you don't wish to assign that field. Okay. Okay. So I see what I want, maybe. Can we do all of the things? Also, this is wrong. Strings. Import that from Diesel, and then import streams from there. Okay, now this complains, right? Because, right. Okay, I think I get it. So what we need to do is something very similar to this, but slightly different. So I'm going to unwind this. We're going to go back to how this was. Right there. So, oh, right. I went too far. Update. There we go. So this struct represents the data coming in from the front end. And then what we want to do is transform it into the thing that we're going to use to call with the set. So we're in here. We're going to have an update stream, not a request. Let's call it a change set. And I'm going to save this so that we get, we don't need to deserialize. And then we'll fix the import. There we go. And then this tells us how we're not aligned with the table, right? So this should be thumbnail URL, I think. Topic IDs is not actually a column yet in the table, so we don't have that there. And I think this is also like URL, something along those lines. There's a similarly named struct field, speech audio URL. That's what we want. Okay, so now this struct represents what we want to be able to set in the table. So then we set, we let change set be an update stream change set where we build this from the update stream request. So we map these things, and we could do another implementation of the from trait and that stuff, but this is really just for this file. We're not going to need this anywhere else. So this is good as it is. And then we just pass change set to here. We might need to let it be borrowed. What is the problem? Okay, well, first of all, we shouldn't use unwrap. We should match if there's an error, will result in an error, and otherwise we just do this. And what are we missing? Probably that. There we go. All right, still not happy. Type inside async block must be known in this context. Cannot infer. Oh, hey, is this? No, we have run query decel from diesel async. It's not that problem. It's async block because of await. It is an async function. What's the problem here? we want to update the streams table where ID equals record ID, which is the UUID we're getting from the path. The type is part of the async block because of this await. Type inside async block must be known in this context. Cannot infer type. Okay, let's pull this apart a little bit. See if we can track down what's going on here. So we don't know what the type is. Why not? So we have query builder functions, update. This should give us an update statement. Like this should be an update statement. And then we call set. And it doesn't seem to like that. What if it's not a reference anymore? Still unknown. Maybe I should go back to the docs. Okay. It doesn't seem happy. Okay, let's do this. Let's make it look very close to what's going on in the docs here. Okay, so we do a reference to the update stream change set. The update stream change set derives from as change set, has a table name referenced. Let's to do return response. Oh no. Yes. Yes, I think I know. I think I know what the issue is. So if we take this and we put this here, the result is a result of something. That's not going to make it happy, but we can. Right. So the issue is that there's a type parameter here, and it can't figure out what this type is supposed to be. The type of the result should be, like, get result here should be a yeah, it should be something like that. Like, we should get a stream back. Let's import that. Does that make you happy? I think it does. All right. And then that is interesting, but not what I want. Good try. So we have a stream. Okay. Oh, right. Of course. Results. Okay, we don't need. We can do stream view from results, and we don't need all of these additional things. We can just do this, and a comma there, and suddenly, as soon as we fix the import, now we're returning a response that contains the updated object read from the record after the update. So this should work, right? We'll see. Okay, so we have some records here. We'll take this A16 record. It's still there, right? And currently the title is test 3. So we're going to update it. So I'm going to duplicate a tab here, and we're going to change this to put, and it's going to have a body that is going to be JSON, and we're just going to update the title to be test 4. And for the sake of seeing the record beforehand, we'll do a GET request to just that ID. And you can see it's test 3 and this other stuff. And if I do a put, we can see the response contains test 4 and all the other fields with the 200 OK. And then if we do the GET to that record that we just did, before it was test 3, now it's test 4. And it was also updated right now in UTC. Yeah. Success. All right, so now we have working create, list, get, update, and delete for the streams. So as you can imagine, doing the rest of the record types is essentially just, we could essentially copy and paste the folder, rename everything that says stream to video clip, and then for the other ones we need to create the tables. It's just repeating the same thing over and over again. So I might just do that behind the scenes. But yeah, so working stream API, stream CRUD API. And we have a little bit of time left for the stream. So I might use this last little bit of time to, we could either look at some of the plans for the other microservices, or we could actually see this API in operation with React Admin. So think about that for a minute. I'm going to stop cargo watch here, and I'm going to redo Docker compose build, and we'll rebuild the service, and I'll update the thing, and we can look at the actual UI maybe. Unless folks have a different preference or have questions. I have maybe 15 or 20 minutes before I should probably figure out what lunch is going to be. So, besides the usual bots that hang out in my in the chat that I can see in the user list, I do see some names. Some I know, and some new ones. So welcome to the stream, whoever you are. Hope you're liking the stream today. I, in the past, only did these coding streams on Sunday mornings. But from now through the end of the year, I have I'm taking a big long vacation. And so I think I will be doing these coding streams in the morning around this time on Tuesdays and Thursdays in addition to Sundays. So this is the first run of that. I will probably get around to updating my schedule here on Twitch as well at some point. But okay, let's take a look. What port? Is it 3000 or 5000 or 8000? I don't even know. I think it's not 3000. Is it 5000? Is it 8000? Ah, it's 8000. All right. So here's React Admin. We've not even looked at this once today. there was an error. NS error. Interesting. Bad URI. Localhost 3000. That's an interesting claim there. Does this work? It looks a little busted. Interesting. Why would a localhost 3000? Can we see here? So we have, oh, it's not starting. Let's try restarting it. Why no logs? Interesting. Okay, doesn't like that. CRUD API did not start. Let's look at our Docker Compose file for CRUD API. We have a database URL, a host port, rust log equals debug. That is interesting. DB. What if I run this? Okay, we're not getting any output. Could we... Oh, is there a Docker... There should be a Docker ignore file, and that should tell it to ignore env files. Environment variables that will be included. Rust log. .env, CRUD API. Huh. That's odd. What if I were to disable the health check? I mean, surely that's not it, because it wouldn't be immediately restarting if that was it. CRUD API exited with code 0. But no output. That's odd. Am I doing something weird with the environment? Yeah, okay, sure. Docker Compose. Environment variables. Environment debug equals 1.
If I put it down, you can take it.
Why suddenly does this not work? I guess one thing that did change was I did have this env file here, and this used to say db. Let's just rename that out of the way really quick. Nope, it's still exiting with code 0. Interesting. Why? I mean, the build worked, right? Now, to be fair, I did make the change to the Docker file, and I got the Docker file build to work, but I didn't actually run, like, invoke the container that was built. So maybe something is still busted there. Let's take a look. I guess we won't be doing UI stuff today after all, unfortunately. But we can get this working. So what I did that seemed to fix the build was I removed the top level cargo.toml that we copied in. And then we work inside of the service. And then, okay, maybe I should do the same thing when we do the same thing here. Maybe this should also remove that. Yeah, okay. Because like if we do Docker compose up, it just immediately crashes. It doesn't work. And I don't know what else could be at fault for that. Feet likes to take its time shutting down apparently, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. Ah, success. All right. Let's see this thing in action, please. There it is. So we can see our streams. We should also be able to create a stream. Created in UI. I don't know about actually using a date field as the prefix. That sort of works, but it's not super flexible. But there we go. So now we have created. There we go. There's the post to streams where we put in our request, and then we get the whole record back. That shows up there, and here's a description. So if we save this, the UI is wrong because that was no, that's right. That is the title. Let's take a look. So we made a put request. Here was the request. Oh, also I was wrong. It did send all of the fields, not just the ones that we changed. But nonetheless, it was a good exercise. And we can see a response. We're not sending back the description. So I guess that means when we go in here, oh, it's there. Interesting. So when we do the get, oh, that must be cached then. It's like if I refresh, yeah, the description's gone. So whoops. What are we missing here? Okay, we don't need that import. We can look here. We do have a description in the create and update. We don't have it in the stream detail view, but we can fix that. Is the description optional? I don't think it actually, well, I don't think it is in this sense, right? Like if we look at the model, if we look at models, this is kind of our Rust representation of the database tables. For stream, it is just a string. Really, the only thing that is truly optional at the database level is the updated timestamp, because that's only set when the record is updated after it's created. So the stream detail view is going to have all of these as just strings. Like this is going to pretty closely match the database model, except that the column names are different, the field names are different, because the fields in the UI determined separately from the names of the columns of the database table. So Oh. I think. What else do we need to update to apply that change then? We probably need to update our stream view. I think this is it, right? So if we just add... I was really kind of expecting the Copilot was going to get that, but there we go. Okay, no such field. Really? Where is there no such field? In stream view? What did I just... Oh. Oh. Wait, where are we using stream detail view? I see. Okay, so one of the things I determined that I wanted to do was when we were dealing with the list endpoint and the list view in the UI, we wanted a slightly different, like a subset of the fields, because we're not going to show all of the columns from the database table here in this view. So what I had done was I had created two structs. One is stream view and the other is stream detail view. So what we're missing here is a couple of things. One is an implementation of from for detail view. There we go. No such field. Stream. Oh, it's just out of date. Okay. And then this is probably missing something. Oh, right. So this needs to return a stream detail view. And this might tell us that there are... Okay, that's fine. It's pretty close. We just also have a description here. We might have other things that are different at some point in the future, but this is just kind of an example of kind of the structure of how you put this kind of API together. If you weren't using something like GraphQL, if you were using GraphQL, things get easier and more complicated. All right, so in create, in this handler, we want to take the record and we want to produce a stream detail view. And guess what? Now we have a way of doing that. Stream detail view from record. So there's that. Okay, where did we get record from? We get that from getting results. So this does a returning star on the end of the query to get the record back. And this gets us all of the columns from the thing. So for the update and create and get one endpoints, we do need to return a stream detail view, JSONified. Whereas for get many or get list or whatever I called it, we want to return the stream view. Maybe I should call it stream simple view, actually. Stream simple view. Let's see if that refactoring. It's thinking. So I clicked it. I hit F2. At least on Windows, on a PC, and then I changed the name, and so that should propagate through to everything. So get list returns a stream simple view, JSONified thingamajig. Get one should do a stream detail view, which we do need to import. And then update also needs to be a stream detail view and not a simple view. Okay. And then we don't need the other one anymore. And then I'll auto simplify that import. And then so get one. Also don't need, ooh. Go. I guess if we're doing that, we might as well do that as well. and then get 1, and then get list. There we go. And there we go. And delete doesn't return anything. And create also returns a detail view. And uses superstructs. Okay, so that's all the things. All right, and so now we won't see any results because we need to rebuild the container, of course. Let's get a new terminal I can work out of, or I can just do docker compose up, which will also redo the build. All right, so this is going to be the last thing. We're just going to see this build succeed or fail. One of the two. And what we should see, if we'll click into this record, here's the description. All right. Test. Does that work? Yeah, it broken. We could put an actual URL in there, but whatever. Anyway, that's the idea. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna commit this, and so now all of these changes that were worked on the stream are on GitHub at github.com/Sabin/ what are we calling this thing? Glowing Telegram. There's a link to that in the community Discord, which is linked from the Twitch profile here. There's also a link to the YouTube channel. Yada yada yada. But hey, it's time for lunch. So thanks so much for hanging out and watching. All the people who came by. I saw people going in and out. some new faces and old appearing. But kind of a quiet crowd today. That's all right. Appreciate you being here and watching anyway. And until next time, please take care. I'll be streaming tomorrow evening some more Starfield, and then coding Thursday morning. So until then, bye-bye.